More than 50,000 people are expected to attend the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee next week.
But there aren't enough rooms in the city, and that means some will have to stay in surrounding communities. WMTV's Marcus Arsvold is in Janesville, where the city hopes to host guests who want a quieter stay.
The Visitor and Conventions Bureau office here in Janesville says people who are trying to find a more affordable, possibly quieter place to stay might book a hotel room here in Janesville. They say if so, restaurants, retailers here, they're ready.
We know Milwaukee's in the spotlight and we're excited about that, but we want to make sure that people have a great experience every step of the way and that we're just, supplementing what Milwaukee's going to do.
Janesville Convention and Visitor Bureau Executive Director Christine Rebout is excited about RNC attendees potentially spending time in her town.
They might plan that return trip for a vacation, or maybe they're looking at relocating a business or moving themselves. So this is what we like to call the first date for economic development.
Next week, we expect to see a slight uptick in business. We are obviously an hour and a half out of Milwaukee, but we do know people will be lodging in Rock County.
Draft House owner Matt Keeley says they're ready for more customers, but not expecting a huge increase.
We do expect to see some residual off it, but not obviously the same as if we were in downtown Milwaukee.
Both say it's great to see more eyes on Wisconsin.
It's really exciting to be part of that experience for people coming to Wisconsin who have only seen just a snippet of it on TV, haven't really been here and talked to their waitress about what's fun to do here.
Both Rebout and Keeley say just seeing the hype behind this business and seeing what it means to have a big convention and event trickle down into Janesville really gets them even more excited about next summer when the Woodman Sports Complex is set to be done, and there will be more conventions and events actually here in town. So they say that summer of 2025, that's what they're excited about. For now in Janesville, Marcus Arsvold, WMTV 15 News.
The GOP has been preparing for the convention for years, but the race, as you know, recently took a dramatic turn in the wake of that debate. So with the Democrats now scrambling to decide if their candidate should drop out, has the Republican Party's convention message changed? We caught up with Wisconsin GOP Chair Brian Schimming and asked him that question.
I don't think it'll change much at all. I think the convention we have in about 10 days here will focus on, were you better off 4 years ago than you are right now? People have decided already that they are. So I'm not sure it changes that much.
Schimming says two of the biggest topics Republicans will focus on, the border and inflation.
President Biden remains adamant that he is the best candidate to take on former President Donald Trump in November's election. The president wrote to congressional Democrats today in part, quote, "I want you to know that despite all the speculation in the press and elsewhere, I am firmly committed to staying in this race." But a handful of House members have publicly called for President Biden to withdraw.
His decision not only impacts who's going to serve in the White House the next 4 years, but who's going to serve in the Senate, who's going to serve in the House, and it will have implications for decades to come.
Over the weekend, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries held a call to gauge how other Democrats are feeling. The discussion was filled with deep concern about potential damage to the Democratic ticket and how it could impact the party's chances to win back the House majority. According to a source, the number of lawmakers who explicitly said Biden should not be the Democratic nominee was greater than the number who spoke up for him to stay.
Organizers of an effort to recall Assembly Speaker Robin Vos haven't given up just yet. They're filing an appeal in Dane County Circuit Court. The court will need to decide whether organizers submitted enough valid signatures on time to force that recall election. If successful, Vos would only be removed from office for the remainder of the year. Recall organizers are targeting Vos because he refused to decertify President Biden's narrow win over former President Trump in the state back in 2020.
And make sure that you make WMTV 15 News your home for the most accurate election coverage here in Wisconsin. We are finalizing our coverage for the RNC next week in Milwaukee, the DNC in August. Both conventions will lead us into the fall primary and the general election in November.